Hi there, my name is Craig Wilson, and I am going to present my personal technology framework. And this is for EDC 6362. And the first thing that I'd like to acknowledge is that I need to have a healthier relationship with technology. So I intend for this presentation to be, a better start to my journey. First, we need to have a working definition of technology. And in my case, I feel that it's a tool or a process that's created for humans to increase the efficiency of work, play, and entertainment. And hopefully, it should advance the welfare of the human condition. So now getting into each one of the areas, first I'd like to talk about the professional applications. So in personal professional development for myself, I like to consider the fact that I'm improving my skills, my knowledge in my professional capacity. And I would do this through micro learning opportunities, asynchronous learning, on-the-job training, and then what I like to call unintentional learning. And this is when a lot of times I've used technology and, I discover something new, or it does something unexpected for myself, and add it to my cool toolkit. And I go, all right, now I know how to do it. Also, in my profession, I use technology to build capacity in others. I improve skills and the knowledge in the others. Same learning opportunities as I just mentioned about the potential for micro learning and asynchronous learning on the job. And they also have unintentional or unexpected learning as well. But what's really nice is that technology allows me to reach beyond the restrictions of real time and location. I can either meet with them remotely live, or there's times I can record and they can continue learning without me actually having to be there. So in my profession, it should also simplify and expedite task completions. So this should be mostly with a lot of data analyses, should help to improve my written, verbal, and graphic communications with others, and it should help with my organization and my project management. Example might be, again, with that personal and professional development. I create a lot of PD and I organize it using technology. It should improve the academic achievement of students. We can do that through our learning management systems, with the way we deliver content, and it also allows for the communication with peers and teachers. And finally, in my professional application, it should increase the equity, meaning gives us opportunities that are in place for technology in the hands of professionals and students who wouldn't otherwise have that experience. It gives voice and choice to a larger segment of our culture, supports the opportunities and the endeavors for everyone, and finally, it breaks down those traditional barriers to entry for a lot of job and work opportunities. Next, I'd like to talk about the personal application. So personally, I use it for task completion, as many of us do. Examples might be finances. I pay my bills online, and I use technology for that. The smaller things too, it's not always just thinking about technology as a computer. There are times when I need to use my microwave to defrost meat because I forgot to, and I need to eat dinner. So it's a quick way to do that. Like you, I also use it for entertainment, watch my television, stream my content. I play video games a lot, and I also like to listen to my music through my technology. I use it for personal growth. So I do a lot of personal learning using technology. Those could be through online courses, leisure learning. I'm doing it right now, obviously, through this doctoral program. I also use it for other small things, just discovering languages, cooking techniques, figuring out home improvement how-tos or how to take care of my car. Another way I personally like to use technology in my framework is for health improvement. I'm an old man. I snore. I've got apnea, so I use a CPAP machine, and it's got a tool where I can online check and see how I'm doing. And other ways too, I can take care of myself. I use applications on there to connect with my healthcare provider, find out what medicines, reading my prescriptions, have communication with my doctor. I also use it for telemedicine. Lots of times I can just use Teladoc and call them and say I'm sick, and they can send a prescription for me. And I also use it for calming and sleeping apps as well, so I can listen to my 532 megahertz, and it helps me to fall asleep. Finally, in my personal life, I use it for communication, like we all do. I like to video chat with my family and friends. We use our cellular phones all the time, text messages, and social media. Next thing I'd like to talk about is the future of tech future of work with technology. So it's becoming more and more prevalent all the time. Remember, the technology is defined broadly. It can be anything from a pair of scissors all the way up to advanced computers and digital applications. And it's everywhere. It's unavoidable. It's increasing at an exponential speed. And realistically, it's way too much for me or for any of my colleagues and peers and friends to be able to maintain the full breadth of it. So we need to be able to become focused on how it primarily impacts us. And then I do have concerns as I get older with my age. It's becoming a little bit more difficult to keep up with technology. And then also because of my position, I've moved up into a mid-level management position. So I'm not boots on the ground. There's a lot of times where I understand the application, but I don't know how to use it in a practical sense. In the future, there's going to be more opportunities for non-traditional work, and I have to acknowledge that. So in my management, I may have to consider that there's going to be subject matter experts. I may contract or consult. So instead of having a full-time teacher that would be in a classroom for biology, I may say, well, I have somebody who is very skilled at helping this segment of a population of kids. Therefore, I'm going to contract with that person to give them the skills that they need. And there's also, you will go anywhere that you're needed. So there's going to be a lot of change in the future of work when it comes to human resources. I understand that there's going to be a need to interact with artificial intelligence and machines. That's going to be my stakeholders, myself, my employees, and I'll talk a little bit about more of that when I talk about some of my concerns. And finally, there's a need to interact with humans as well, though technology has to improve the human condition, like I said. And so we need to get away from screen time and get to some face time as well. Human contact is critical. We're social animals. So within work, I need to build in time for intentional interaction. That work health balance is critical and necessary. Let's move on to the next one, which is obtaining that life balance. So again, like I said, I need to have a healthy relationship with technology, and I don't right now. So I need to keep remembering that technology is a tool, but it's not a lifestyle. And it needs to be purposeful and aiding with menial tasks at home, things like cooking and power tools. Again, my finances, my environmental controls, security, communication. So all those menial tasks that I really shouldn't have to do. As I stated before, it's great for entertainment, television, video games, music, social media, art. But I also need to balance with those offline activities. I currently don't have that. It's suffering, and I need to make a shift to make that happen. So there used to be so many things that I enjoyed, like working in my workshop and yard work and gardening, hiking, sports, family game nights, offline game nights, with an actual board game. I used to read books ravishingly, and I don't anymore. And finally, it's affecting my sleep. I find myself too many times just doom scrolling, when I'm trying to laying in bed. And the next thing I know, I look at the clock and I've been out there for hours. So, all right. So finally, I've got some concerns with technology that I need to think about in the future. So again, I just talked about that addiction. I think I have a technology addiction and I need to get away from it. I've been stream, social media doom scrolling, streaming TV. It's too much. And I think that it's also beginning to limit not only mine, but other people's, their freedoms and their thoughts and their ideas. Meaning, when we search for something, we're seeing what's highly rated or what's being promoted, searches that are being promoted, and those are what's showing up. So what am I missing? What else is out there that's unique and not popular or not common, and I'm missing it? Worry about the ethics of technology. So we have a use of technology, can be used potentially to deny so many benefits. There's so much fake news and reporting out there. There's disruptive technology that is being used by activists, and they call it the weaponization of technology. I have to admit, though, I think Anonymous, they're a cool group because I like to see how they work for social justice. Government agencies, I think there's too much of a tendency for them to buddy up with other corporations for mutual gain. And then, of course, we have other concerns with bioengineering of food and healthcare. There's reproduction concerns. There's genetic engineering that's happening all over the place. Talked previously about artificial intelligence and machine learning. There's some concerns there. DeepMind has created an artificial intelligence, and recently, on its own, without being fed a lot of prompts, it decided that it really needed to kill all humans. Humans needed to be eliminated because they were working against what the machines needed. That's concerning. And then there's the classic experiment with feeding Google's AI some information, and it started to become racist. And then there was some a bot chat on Twitter that also started to become racist and sexist. So it's not perfect, and it's not there yet. What's the environmental impact of our technology? Is there a lot of energy that needs to be used to produce this technology? What about all the waste products that are coming out of it? Things like mercury and the microplastics. And then how do we dispose of technology or recycle it in the right way? I don't think we're doing it right now. Of course, we have privacy issues as well. We've got personally identifiable information that is being mishandled and misused without a lot of regulation. And then simple things like I have a Ring camera and a doorbell, and Ring wanted me to connect with the rest of the network, with the other communities, other homes around me, so that we could all share our Wi-Fi. Yeah, well, what other information are they gathering about us? So that concerns me as well. So I think in the end, I need to determine which areas that I have control over, which ones I have the most influence over, and which ones I can choose to patronize or not, or to change through my personal actions so that I can have a healthier relationship with technology. Thanks so much. That's me.